a very, very, very unproduced recording. Um, I'm having a hard day. And I have a lot of tenderness in my back, in my upper back, around my shoulder blades, and upper rib joint areas and stuff, and it's all around my left side shoulder, and the ribs are just like having lots of tenderness, readjustment, I hope, or something. But over a time of working on my back since the last couple years, my lower back has come around and felt better, but not like 100%, but just better. And then since I got back to Washington, I've been doing a lot of exercises, and I keep getting a lot of tenderness and sensitivity around my upper back, whereas it really feels like it's older scar stuff related to, because I started getting problems from the infection as pain wise a couple years before I was in the Army. And then while I was in the Army and deployed and all that, my left shoulder was something was just so crazy with the inflammations in my back, where my left shoulder felt like it was like trying to disconnect itself from the rest of my body. And then I'm getting lots of feels like scar pain, even like scar tissues that developed while I was doing all that might still be residual, and it's like all scars that build up cause extra just tissue growth between stuff, tender tissues and stuff. Like every time I did a push-up in the Army, my left shoulder was cracking, like every push-up, and rolling and pinching and stuff in my left side of my rib cage and stuff. So I'm having a lot of tenderness issues still, and it's very painful. I get kind of like nauseous today, slight, just like a heady pain. Eyes are really sensitive to light, and when I breathe in big breaths, the tenderness in my spine is really present. I can feel it, and it causes me to kind of quiver in my breaths. And I had some times where some guys, different times they got kicked in my back and stuff, but it was mostly lower back stuff. And then my lower back, I've just been focused on it so much, it really seems to have come around a little bit. But then it's just this tenderness. Man, it just hurts so much. And I keep doing the stairs in Ballard. I keep doing stairs and then stretching, and then, God, it's just so tender. And the tenderness kind of like moves around, and it feels like a little bit better. And then I try to do some more exercises, and it's just crazy how the tenderness is like the way it is with scar tissue and stuff. It feels so weird and sensitive, and the scar tissues that build up, as like if my back is trying to heal, I'm imagining the scar tissues that build up is pulling things slightly out of spot, an ideal place for the nerves and everything. And then it's just it's like you have to recondition. My back got used to being kind of inflamed most all the time, and then now maybe I will be able to experience feeling more normal, but I don't know how long this will take, or maybe a year or less. I don't know if my back will ever 100% will never 100% come around, but if it will actually come around to where like I can go do things and it's not going to get all inflamed really easily. It gets inflamed really easy, especially living out of my car. Reaching and climbing around the car is actually kind of, I keep feeling like I make an excuse, like it should be good for me, but I have this like extreme tenderness from the infection that was in my back for so long. And then so I'm getting a lot of doubtful thoughts, when you don't feel well or something's making you feel sick. You get a lot of doubtful thoughts, and I'm having a lot of doubtful thoughts today. And I think that it's not all stuff that's precarious imagination. I have some realistic thoughts, and I have a lot of really realistic questions about social incentives for a guy like me, and social iniquity values. And I find the incentive for a guy like me is probably a hot topic for people in law enforcement. And that's why I'm making these videos, because the law enforcement people seem to have some kind of pride about how they consciously promoted whatever it is that I'm going through with this infection in my back. And I don't get to know the story, but it is obvious that they're keeping track of me. And I don't get conversation with other grown people, almost never. And most of the time, the conversation is questions about suicide, questions about harming yourself and others, and just generalized, repeated questions about suicide. And then I don't get very much ability to socialize, because I'm really not interested in looking to get employment right now. And then the cops seem to be playing around knowing me and my situation and trying to see if they could push me into feeling rushed, like I need to go get employment when I'm still really not healed and I don't know how much my back will be able to heal. And it's not only that, like, I tell people, for instance, at this Ballard 7-Eleven near the Golden Gardens, I go there at least, well, not every day, but most days I go there once. There may be like 1 or 2 days out of the week I'll go there twice a day. Alright? And then I'm doing the stairs, I'm doing exercises and stretching. I'm driving my car up and down different blocks, parking, doing exercises, and going to the store, and then going back up and down different blocks, and then parking overnight, different blocks. And then I go to this certain 7-Eleven more often because it's near where I do the stairs. And then I explain all that of what I'm doing and stuff. And it's not only that, it's like the people who are running the 7-Eleven, I don't know who they are. But the workers there, generally uninterested. But then they wanted to give me a hard... This one lady that works there, she keeps giving me a hard time about getting some hot water if I go there more than once a day. And then if I go there and she's seen me like more than once a week or something, it seems like. Because she only works a couple days out of the week. She doesn't work every day. And then she always seems to try to make a thing about me coming to get hot water. And she keeps trying to have some explanation like, well, we're not supposed to have products or something, and you're not supposed to bring an outside container, and you're not supposed to... And then all of these arguments is extremely dumb, and she knows it. Because I've told everybody at the store what I'm doing, how I bought this car. I'm trying to condition my back and neck back. I had an infection. I've told everybody. And it's like every time I see them, they try to get away with acting like they don't remember that. And these are adults. I speak with them almost daily. These are adults. Right? I'm not trying to start like a racial war, but she's a foreign family person. I would say that she might be related to some kind of Middle Eastern or African something. I don't know. Something from Africa, Middle East, mixed, possibly. I don't know, right? It's a mix. She's mixed, right? Not Mexican. Like, it's Middle East, African mix. I don't know what her background is. She talks like she has a lot of family that talk the way she talks and sounds the way she sounds. I don't know how to place it or if I want to. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, I'm a white dude. I have a clear and present story. Everyone knows what's going on. From a daily basis, they act like they can't remember or something. They're going to give me a hard time about getting some hot water from the 7-Eleven. I've almost never gotten in trouble from people getting hot water from a gas station. There's only been a couple times, and it's always been this type of person where it's like she's just trying to poke at me. Ha 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 ha. I know this is something you really need right now, and you're trying to make yourself better. So I'm poking fun at you and acting like what you're doing is a problem, but because what the real situation is other people made a problem for me, and I'm trying to fix my own self and my body, and then there she goes, acting like, poke fun at you, hot water. And then so, after I experienced something like that, it's been something I experienced many times, but not often. But I have, I've traveled on my back across country and got hot water at tons of places all up and down the West Coast. And I can tell you, it's not something that happens often. If someone tries to mess with you about something like that, they're poking fun. Why, right? Why does she want to say that? I don't know. She gets entertainment out of poking fun at guys. And then that's when I wonder, I have some questions about social iniquity. I have some questions about incentive. You know? I have some questions about incentive. And I have a sense of humor and all, but there's a certain line. Like, someone's trying to help themselves, better themselves. That's me. What happened to me wasn't something I did to myself. It was the iniquity of the Lord. They brought it on me. They put this infection on me. They left me hanging with it. And if the Lord's listening to my recordings, then I want to express further to the Lord, I can understand how the Lord works. I can tell you straight up, I know. Growing up on the East Hill, white people families don't ring like the way other origin families ring, if you understand what I'm saying. The white people families that live around King County, they don't ring like the same as people from other origins that aren't white. Right? I know what's going on. They ring around and they share information. They're mobbed, they're crude, right? White people families, they're really not like that very much around King County. I know what's going on. They know. And I know while I was in the army and all that shit, and I was going to different social venues, music and things, telling people that I was having the pain I was experiencing, I know that these other rings of people that sell cocaine and meth, and they look like straight up people and they take care of each other. There's a lot of fucking dirtbag shit, and a lot of them are white dudes that basically get kicked to the curb, and they never fit in with those rings. And if they think they do, they're gonna learn a thing or two, right? And so, yeah, it's real racial. I don't fit in with any of the crews. And the Burning Man people that I meet, the burners around King County, Seattle, they're not the kind of people that I would hang out with. They do cocaine regularly, they do meth regularly, they drink alcohol. Most of them are fucking alcoholics, fucking burners. And that's the fucking truth. And I don't fucking fit in. And then so I'm asking these questions about iniquity, and I'm asking questions to myself about what's my incentive. And I find that for a guy like me who realizes, oh, there was an infection placed in my spine, not only did people carry on like they were clueless about it, they were apparently making fun of me because they knew I was clueless about it. Right? Obviously, it's a social intrigue comparison of many rights or wrongs. People around me were connected to rings of people who obviously knew that they could have told me something, and they didn't tell me shit. While I was in Kansas, a 9mm was passed to me. While I was in Kansas with nowhere to go, strung to the tune of just selling some little 20 bag or quarter bag. I was selling quarters for 25. That was it. That was my thing. You know? And I had nothing. And I wasn't trying to get rich. And I knew I wasn't going to. You know? I mean, I've seen lots of people with LSD and all that, you know? And then while I was younger, I came to that. You know, I had some LSD. And I came to that. And I didn't get it. I thought there was more to know about LSD. And then so in my recent past couple of years, I've said LSD, they said it was created in the 70s. I think I'm pretty sure that is not true. And LSD is most likely more relative to history as maybe the Holy Grail. I don't know. You know, it's the Holy Sacrament. And then here I am, a guy who has been strung with this pain infection that's supposed to cause a person to become a drug addict. And it's also, what I learned about it was that if a young female was marked with this infection in the base of her back, it was most likely because she was bound to be a hooker. And, right? And then, so, this infection that was placed in my lower back when I was a toddler or something, this, over-the-counter infection, alright? Some kind of legal game that is extremely not legal. And I find myself asking, what is the incentive of a guy like me, you know? What's the incentive? Because I come to the conclusion of is whoever of the Lord is watching me and this, what's going on with me, I think they didn't expect me to be alive still. So now it's getting more strange for them and me and awkward. right? It's awkward. I think they wanted me to do some crazy flip out many years ago. And I was in a lot of pain in Kansas before I was in the National Guard. It was very fucking painful infection, right? Causing me inflammation in my back, all up on my neck, my ear, side of my fucking ear, headaches. People were basically making fun of me. They roundabout way handed me a 9mm with shredder rounds and hollow points. And I've posted up some stuff on the Google map, like Salina, Kansas, the hospital, right? And I was like, I put up a review. In this town, I was handed a 9mm, you know? And I was in pain and sick, and, right? So I've been putting up posts about things that have gone on with me on the Google Maps reviews. All over the place. All over the United States that I've been. And I feel as though this situation for me is coming to a real serious point of inclusion about iniquity and incentive. Because then what I realize is I'm a guy who these rings of people are keeping track of. They don't actually expect me to be alive still. Perhaps. I'm guessing. Right? I was in so much pain. I did consider, so they probably expect me to be in such bad pain, I'm gonna hurt somebody. And then when I was deployed, I think it was, well, he'll probably kill himself. But then, family gets insurance money, right? So then I'm here, I get through all that shit. I'm staring everyone down, and then everybody's acting like, well, we don't want to have anything to do with him now. But every time he tries to get some kind of point of contact, it's questions about suicide, questions about guns, right? And then repeated, just, that's all they want to talk about is suicide and guns. Suicide and guns. So I went to Walmart and bought a T-ball bat because I consider like this. If they're willing to poke fun at me, knowing what they know, they're poking fun at any meth head or coke head, ring faggot that could come bum rush me because from a ring-a-ling way, they know Ryan's a sitting duck, right? Ryan's a sitting duck. They've never fucking helped him, and they don't let him fucking make police reports. So if they get desperate enough, they'll just come try to get some piece of Ryan, I guess, or whatever he has. Take whatever he has, right? And especially if they're getting picked on like the way I get picked on, yeah, I see it. So, yeah, I bought a T-ball bat, you know? Because my peers that I meet, they're not trying to have a conversation with me about affordable condo association and how could some nobodies come up and do something like that. Nobody fucking wants to talk about that shit. They want to talk to me for a moment, see if I'm still feeling confident, and ditch him again because he hasn't given up yet. He doesn't need us yet. He doesn't need a drink, and he doesn't need some cocaine, and he doesn't need some meth, and he doesn't need some fucking heroin. And I don't know how the fuck, I don't know how many people they've done this infection in the back to, but they probably think it's some kind of unusual thing that I have gone this far with it, then found out what it was, healed it myself, and am now doing these videos and recordings, is what I guess. Because they act so suspicious. Everybody around me is acting extremely vague and suspicious to me. And so I have these questions about iniquity, and I have questions about incentive, right? And the LSD shit and all that bullshit, right? I had a couple 10 strips of acid when I was in Kansas, and I was in hella pain, and I took like a half of one, and I didn't even understand what the fuck that shit was all about back then. And I ended up actually letting some other guy have most of the shit that I had because he was like not feeling well and it was pumping him up. And I just felt sick. I just felt like shit, right? And so, what is this filament of social intrigue, you know, between the hot water hustle and the men's room? And you ask yourself a generalized questions. Did you get the stuff? You know? Did you get the stuff? And what does that mean? Whenever someone says generally, vaguely, the stuff, I automatically think cocaine. At least 50% of any situation, the stuff means cocaine. It could mean meth or heroin or some stupid drugs, but the stuff means cocaine. And I know that the rings of people that aren't making solid points about things that I make points about, that's their fucking problem. Alcohol and cocaine. And they're the only people that will talk to me these days. Is the people that I don't want to fucking talk to because they didn't fit in because they're fucking queer. And there's a difference. I'm in my situation because I marched through some fucked up ass infection bullshit. These motherfuckers that I see and meet try to put me on their panhandle, but my level is nowhere near what they got. And so I feel like on edge. Like I want to take a bat to the guy who's supposed to be my peer. And then the guy at the person at the store who's trying to give me a hard time about hot water, I think I want to make some popcorn. Pop. Cause this little fucker's just gonna pop. I know it. This is how you make a pop. This is how you make a pop. You ever seen a real old school popcorn pop? Yeah, you put an infection in some guy's spine, and then if he doesn't kill anybody and he makes it through all that, he has to live out of his car, and he would love it, but his spine got so sensitive and fucked up from the infection, it's still gonna hurt like a terrible one from just crawling around and maneuvering inside of the car every day. And it's gonna piss him off. And then I'm gonna poke fun at him about coming and getting hot water at the fucking 7-Eleven and shit. And then I'm gonna send some tongues over to the meth ring ear guys. And they're gonna come over once I got this guy kind of mad. And then we're gonna see some shit go down. He's gonna kill a meth head. I don't know. Is that what you're trying? I think the Lord does this shit. And they're trying to do it with me. They're trying to do it with me. And I call it systemic lordosis. Lordosis was something that I came across through my spine infection, as a unusual function of the spine is often concluded as a style of lordosis. A lord is also a group of people, and if you have systemic lordosis issues, you're going to have to get much more particular, because that's still rather vague. And so, suicide, guns, what is the novelty and the pride in social incentive? The novelty and the pride of social incentive. And then what I notice a lot about our business today, novelty was a thing. Novelty was what the artistic voyeurism of city life was created to highlight novelty artists, to highlight the novelty of creativity. That's city life. Right? You don't see people sitting out on a sidewalk anywhere but in the city doing something silly. Right? Doing something silly, and then you find out what they're doing. That's the novelty of city life. Right? When I take my drum out there and I play my drum with my brushes, that's the novelty of that's a novelty of city life. And it's another thing where I don't like people playing on buckets, right? It's just a novelty sidewalk thing. Really doesn't sound very cool. It's only entertaining for people who aren't musicians. They're just, oh, right? Wow. But any percussionist, like, playing on buckets sounds like crap. And, right? Sounds like crap. And it only shows how desperate I am to be involved with music that I'll play on the sidewalk with buckets. And then it's that kind of novelty that I notice in today's society. People who aren't musicians and shit have some sinister intrigue about what they like to view. And it really is starting to piss me off because I like being a novelty artist in many respects, right? It's really starting to piss me off. And there's a purpose for novelty, and novelty is your pride, especially in the city perspective. Novelty art is your pride in your city. It gives you incentive, right? It gives you incentive. And then the iniquity is full of those incentives. Right? I want to remind myself, what is the filament of social intrigue? Understanding the incentives, the novelty and the pride, right? Your incentive, a filament of social intrigue, you know? I was advertised that I could be free from worry, right? So, and then what I noticed about the novelty of television intrigue very much often became unrealistic is funny. Obviously, it's partly because real estate is intentionally not making sense. I was advertised that I could be free from worry. At some point in my existence, I would get to a point where I was free from worrying. Right? Ridiculously stupid. Never gonna happen. You'll be worrying till the day you die. Right? So, it's just, what are you making your novelty? What are you making your novelty? Is voyeuring something tragic? Is that the thing you're into? Can that tragic thing carry a t-ball bat? Well, how hard can that tragic thing swing a t-ball bat? I don't know. Just keep your fucking meth ring off my fucking ass, Seattle. I know they're kicking it around, waiting. Is Ryan tired yet? You know, does he need us, the dirt ring yet? Because Ryan's not bending to it. Alright, that's what's going on. Ryan doesn't go to the bars and drink. He continuously says alcohol is the stupidest thing on this planet. Besides, well, we won't get into names right now. But, I just want to be clear to everybody where I stand. I'm sleeping in my car because I have been fucked over, right? But when I was a teenager, I didn't expect to have a specially social life. I did expect to live out of a car or something. I didn't expect to pay rent, right? But I didn't expect living out of a car would be all there would be. When you're a guy with a healthy back and stuff, you can do a lot of things. So it just becomes just an all-around ha-ha on this little white kid from Kent. And these other rings of people didn't step in and give him any advice or help him about it. And then they still are voyeuring it like it's that white kid from Kent and he's got that infection in his back. And they're like voyeuring like, ha ha ha. But now this past year, I don't have it anymore and I'm trying to heal it, right? So, and then they still do they're voyeuring me basically everywhere I go. Their little rings. You can't prove how they work. The cops know what the fuck I'm talking about. The cops get it. I know the cops know me pretty fucking well, actually. Even though I don't fucking socialize with almost nobody. I already know. The cops know me fucking well. If any cop ever comes up to me, act like he doesn't know who I am, I fucking talk shit. And I'm like, don't act like you don't know who I am. I know you know who I am. And so that's what I'm dealing with. It's an adult society. Yeah. And they aren't all that honest with me. How they're acting with each other, I know that I've been singled out, right? So it's just incentive, you know? What's your incentive? Oh, finally. Oh, yeah, that's right. The bear bell. The bear bell. In all finality, I want to talk about this fucking thing at the store. And I've seen this shit hella times at different fucking stores. The goddamn bear bell. Like, this is just another thing where it's like, these are our adults. We live in the same fucking reality. I went to the fucking store, Walmart. They have a fucking bear bell. Is that so when a bear eats you and they meet the bear and they can hear a dingling sound coming from inside the bear, that they know that the bear ate a person or something? Because I guarantee you, there is no purpose for a bear bell unless the purpose is ding, 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 dinner time. I don't know what you do with a bear bell. Somebody told me, oh, well, you put your bear bell on your stuff, or when you hang your food in the tree, and you put that bell on it. And then it rings if they try to mess with it, and it spooks them or something. And I'm like, what? I don't know. Honestly, I'm not going that deep to run into a bear And if I do, I'm fucking cracking up with a sweet ass song. As soon as I think a bear can hear me, I'm singing the most beautiful song I could sing in my life. I'm singing as loud and clear and entertaining sounding as I can sing. If I see a bear, if I see any animal in the forest that could hurt me, I'm fucking singing so sweet and cool sounding that they're just amused. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't mean that I'm the kind of guy who's never gonna fight you. What it means is I'm multi-talented, super fucking genius, and someone's gonna get knocked the fuck out. And you're gonna hear a fancy song along with that. And it's not a secret as far as I'm concerned. Animals that are violent can be entertained with a fancy song. And I camped around California, and I witnessed mountain lions alone by myself. And I sang a fancy song. And I know how to, they were not like big mountain lions. They were smaller ones. But, I mean, bigger mountain lions can be different. The smaller ones seem to be the type you can socialize with more. Bigger ones, I'm sure, yeah. I haven't seen very many like the bigger ones. And that's the thing about mountain lions is you can really run into a breed of mountain lion that's rather small. And then some of them can be rather big, just as a breed. And then, so, I camped around them. I walked up the trail. I could tell they were laying down on the side of the trail. And then I was like, okay, so these are some mountain lions. And they, like, know the ranger. They seen them before and shit. These are mountain lions that seen rangers and stuff. The rangers put them local mountain lions in check. So I was like, they've probably seen people. I'm cool. I'm just gonna walk up the trail. I seen there. If they're watching me, so I checked the spot where they were laying, and I'm like, I know for a fact, if the mountain lion can see me, it's watching me check his spot, I'm gonna look around, but I can't see him, right? I can't see him, but I know it was two of them, and a male and a female, who were mating alone, traveling alone. And then, so I went back up the trail again, doubled back. And then, so I could already tell they're halfway tame. They see people and they know they're the kind of mountain lions they might even socialize with, like park rangers and stuff. And I've seen that before. They do. Mountain lions will become social. If they like hanging around an area, they won't be really protective. They'll get up and move to another area real quick. It's not that big of a deal to them. You have to get kind of far out there before they get protective. So, I mean, out deep into the woods. So, in the mountain or whatever. So, I've set up my tent, and these mountain lions came down off the trail and were wrestling around on the ground. And I set up my tent under a tree, a large tree that had huge sticks and stuff area under it, where it was super crunchy. Like you couldn't walk around without crunch, sticks are breaking and stuff. So, and then I just plopped my tent right on top of that shit. So if the mountain lions came and walked around my tent while I was sleeping, even got within a few feet, it'd be all snap, crackle, pop stuff under the ground all around me. And so they didn't even come around that area under that tree, but I could hear them playing around and their paws smacking the ground, and they were rolling around like near that area. And then I started singing this loud song, right? And I sing this song in the tunnel at the Ballard Golden Gardens area. There's this tunnel under there, and I sing it, and they like stopped playing, and I could only hear them, and I didn't even get up. I was laying on my back, and then I just started singing, and I sang the song a couple times, and then I just fell back asleep. But like after I started singing, they totally were like not playing anymore, and then just sitting there like just listening. And then they kind of like they moved and wandered a couple times while I was singing that I could hear. Like I couldn't see them, but I could hear them. And then but they just stayed right there and just listened to me singing. And then I fell back asleep again, right? And then so I don't know what the iniquity is with the Lord right now, but I know what my incentive is. I'm one with what I know. What I know. What I know. I will be right about some of these things. And my day will come. So, well, as far as hot water, I've had some other experiences where people were stingy about the hot water at the gas stations. It really doesn't happen very often, but I had this situation at the coffee house in Ballard, and the guy was, and then later they said that I like pushed the manager or something. I'm not allowed to go in there, which is totally made up. But I was just drawing, and then somebody made a complaint. For a while, I had been bouncing around different coffee shops, and then somehow people were offhandedly just complaining and showing me how some coffee shops people will just bounce you if they don't know you based on another person's comment, and they won't tell you what was said or anything. They'll just do it. So I kind of was learning that in a way, where some coffee shops I sat at, I realized they were kind of stingy and kind of like knuckleheads. Other places were more kind of people were, if someone was trying to pull that, it didn't work. Or like at the Ballard Coffee Works place across the street from the Starbucks, someone tried to do it, and I still don't know who it was. So I don't know. It's weird. I feel like someone was kind of like catering around after me, trying to mess with me, poke fun at me, making complaints about me and stuff. So the Ballard House thing, someone tried to do it at this other house, and then I started realizing someone's doing that, but they're never gonna tell me who's making the complaints or something, or I don't know what's going on. But the other place kicked me out, and the manager come up to me, and then I don't even know if at that point on that day, I don't know if the manager was lying and just felt like, oh look, it's Ryan, and he knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was, and he was like, get the hell out of here or something for no reason, and you're not allowed to come here anymore. Just had no reason. And I was like, I just responded like, I thought he was joking or something. And then I tossed the cup at him, or I tossed an empty paper cup with my left hand and spun it through the air and bounced it off his shoulder. And I said something funny or something. I don't remember exactly what I said, but he was all saying he's going to call the cops. I was like, not worried at all, like laughing it off, like, you know. And then when I was in Portland, a similar thing happened at another coffee shop, and there was a muffin cut in half, and someone had ate half of it and left the other half sitting on a plate, and I picked up half the half muffin and flung it through the air with my left hand at this guy in Portland. The first place is in Seattle, Ballard, and this one's in Portland. And I did this within like a year's amount of time. I was in these different places, and then I flung this muffin at this guy, and he said he was gonna call the cops. And then they were parked like down the street, and he was like, they're right there, see? And I was like, huh, looks like they are. And I just stood there, and then he realized I wasn't scared, and then it's just a couple of funny situations where people who made a big deal about it, it didn't have anything to do with the hot water or what I was doing. It was just them having a bad day at me, you know. It was just a weird situation, and it usually has almost always been like a small coffee shop style situations, or yeah, the downtown Seattle Pike Place. I have a thing where I go and get hot water from the store at the Pike Place, and then the only time anybody ever gives me a hard time about it is the young chicks that are there, and then I don't know if I should take them seriously or not, because it just seems like a joke. Only the young girls that are working there, that are not very experienced or newbies, are the only ones that have gave me a hard time about it. So I always think this is a joke, that you guys, I'm supposed to think the girl's cute or what? I don't know. Like, like they make some deal about getting some hot water off the hot water. It's like, so what? It's just hot water. I don't know why. Maybe they're being cute. I don't know. It's confusing because it shouldn't be an issue. And so over that year, I had a third left-handed phenomena experience. I called this the 3 left-handed things that happened. It was like the 2016, 2017 year touring my bike around, I think. Or it might have been before that. I was touring for like 3 years on my bicycle. And so this 3 left-handed things were I threw the cup, then the muffin, and then when I was in San Francisco, I had a carrot in my hand, and I came to this certain point in San Francisco. It was a nice vantage point for looking out across the bay. And I turned around, and there was a little bit of foot traffic of that day, and then I stood back with my back almost next to the pole that had all the lights on the intersection and was looking over the vantage point of the bay. And then this really hot, I wouldn't say redhead, I would say just like kind of like an orange tint, actually. But, you know, a hot redhead, more of an orangey redhead. She was hot, you know, and I was like, damn, that's a hot chick right there. And then it was a really strange thing. I broke a piece of the carrot out of my and just reached my arm back, and I like was gonna toss it like up in the air, and then somehow I had this weird reflex in my arm, and I zanged the carrot out of my hand straight, and the the butt of this carrot smacked this chick in the top of her head while she was talking to her friend. And the way that I was just standing there, nobody even saw me even move. And it was just weird. Left-handedly, the way it just like binged off the top of her head, and nobody saw what happened. And there was people standing all around at the intersection. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even try to do that, and that was just crazy. Like, and then even the chick, like, looked up and around, like something dropped out of the sky and bumped her or something. And I was like, this is weird. That was the third time I've thrown anything left-handed and on this touring mission, and then it's just weird. I don't know. So I had actually been considering hot water situations as some kind of weird intrigue. I don't know, but I hooked up with this chick, not that chick, but when I was in Washington and well, let me just put it in perspective here. Along with all these stories, I just have a general distrust for my peers and stuff right now, and most of everything. And I've had some really odd experiences with just social intrigue in general. Some girls that I've met, and then it's not girls, it's just like, you people are alcoholics? I don't know. I known this girl for a while, off and on, and then when I was living out of my car in 2006, and then, I mean, you're like a guy trying to make sense of the world, and then most of your friends are like drinking a lot, it's party. People still live with their parents to this day in my neighborhood in Kent that I lived in. People who don't still live there with their families is actually, I think, not that common. Most people, families and stuff, they stick together, they share
houses. The kids take over the parents' house. The parents move somewhere. And then they still have that house in that neighborhood and stuff. But my family is not like that. And I knew I wasn't like everyone else's families around there and stuff. And like the way my family was working. So I knew all that. So I met this gal. I hooked up with her. Just kind of generally, every time I seen her, I thought she was cute. But she's always like drinking beer or something. Basically, I was talking to her saying, hey, every time I see you, you're drinking, and you got a drinking problem or something? And she's like, yeah, maybe. And then I was like, well, what's your focus? I mean, this gal lived with her grandma and didn't have to. I mean, her grandma kind of depended on her to help her with the property that she lived at. So it was easy for her, you know. Somehow she had developed a pretty good drinking habit. And I guess only thing she could really tell me is that she thought spinning records was fun. But she was hella shy as far as she wasn't really up for being a person who would spin records on stage or something. But that's what she does a lot. And then she says she's pretty bored most of the time. Basically. And I was like, geez, what an easy life. Your mom or your grandma owns this house on East Hill, and then she basically depends on you to help her take care of the property and stuff, and help her. And she acted like I always felt like oh, she acts like she has a stressful life. I was like, you have no stress. You shouldn't have a drinking problem. And then basically I kind of understood. I knew the kind of guys that she hung around, raving and stuff. And then that's just what my peers are, or something. It's instant gratification. Don't worry about what's gonna happen tomorrow, because you're screwed anyways. So screw it all today. And who cares where you wake up tomorrow is like where a lot of my peers have been mentally. And I can see it. And I think that comes a lot from having a society that's really hard up to have a place to just will be you away from everyone else. And I think that's a big problem. Poor people, it's just people. There's just normal people, poor people. Basically, you really should just identify society is poor people. And then trying to act like there's something else to build up to from being poor for a general population. It's, I don't know, what are you going to build up to? I mean, what are you going to build up to? Everyone's going to have a huge house with a couple of Ferraris or something. They sold that image. I mean, I knew something was weird. When I saw those posters and stuff when I was in grade school, like this huge mansion with a bunch of nice cars, and it said something about something or other success or something or other of a great education or something, those posters. I knew that was something off some hype or something, even as a kid. I was like, who in their right mind thinks that that's a realistic goal for any just common citizen? So we all have the fair way to, we can all fairly achieve that together. A huge mansion and Ferraris, right? Like, it's not realistic. Really. and it's not efficient, right? What if you decide to move, or something? Life's not gonna be like that. You're gonna be studying somewhere. Like, if society was working in a really healthy way, you'd be studying somewhere, and then you move somewhere, and then you have to go meet some people at some place. I mean, like, if you're really some busybody person, right? Imagine, like, trying to find a mansion and stuff. That's not gonna be, that's gonna, like, that's the last thing on your list, right? Like, who's a busybody and has time to go sit around at their mansion? You won't. Right? So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's probably people that work from home out of mansions and stuff. I'm sure they do it. But it's really not a fair, typical way to propose society. Like, everybody has a fair chance to get that. Right? You have to assume that you don't, really, in realistic measures. I have to assume I don't. And then, even if I had a great job and earned a lot of money, I would be really questionable about how to spend it. I think I would have to study a while just to learn what's the right way to spend some money. And, so I hooked up with this gal. She was the only gal I ever hooked up with that had, like, a orange, reddish hair, like orangey. And every time I seen her, I always thought, she's cute. I would hook up with her, And then this one time, I was like, okay, well, hey, let's kick it. Let's go to a hot tub, And I took it out to a hot tub and stuff, and you show a girl a good time, no other guy actually ever treated her like that. The only guys she hung out with was some guys that drank beers and then offered some free lines to be romantic. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go into how I treated her, but I know it was foreign to her how I treated her that evening, right? And then that's what I know is other guys definitely don't like me. They don't like how I'm different, right? They don't like how I'm different. Right? They don't get me. They think they're roughnecks or something. I've seen a lot of people that I should be able to fit in with, and I decide that I don't like them. And it's a white people a lot, is what I found. That I feel like I should be able to fit in with them, and then I decide I don't like them. And then it's just my anthem of 2020. Poor people don't need friends. If you know that, then you're on my level in some way. Poor people don't need friends. I need an affordable condo association, right? I need to build a union, a condo union with people of similar interests. Right? Everybody's name's on the list. It's not some sublet where you have a ghost living in the back side of the house. Everyone else on the front side of the house is legal or something. Alright? People don't need to do that because we started building huge condo associations nationwide.
This morning,
and that has been almost alleviated almost.
Gas station.
People
and
don't
then,
have
so
to
when
live
I was
in
living
weird
on my
sublet
bike and
situations.
camping in Maple Valley,
And it's
I was
always
doing
the
hot
fucking
water
problem.
bottle
The
sessions
hot
on my
spot.
back with this
Right.
type of bottle. And there's a couple different kinds of
We're getting
bottles you
there.
can get from the store that don't melt when you put
2020,
hot
baby.
water in them. Or they don't get all gooey and weird. They don't get all weird. This one stays very solid, the Minute Maid bottle. There's a couple other bottles that are good for it. And so when I go to the shops, this guy that has a gas station over down that way, there's a road on the other side of those trees. We're in the middle of Tukwila. This old Asian dude who is part of ring activity, and down this road there's a bunch of fucking casinos in Tukwila, and I always hate it that there's casinos down here. And it's basically, it's like it's basically, I love Tukwila except for this area over here. Over here, there's like a soccer fields and this huge arena with huge soccer fields and shit over here behind these buildings. But then over here, if you go down this road, Interurban Avenue, and then down this road, there's this really nice area and shit, and then there's fucking casinos right there. And that fucking pisses me off every time, and it's these fucking Asians, and I fucking don't like them, and it doesn't have anything to do with being Asian, right? So I don't know, it's their social thing. They hang out at casinos, they fucking like that shit. I fucking hate it, and I hate it every time I go past there. And whenever I'm in this area, the guys who all run the fucking places all around this interurban area around the casinos are a bunch of queers. And he charged me for coffee when I got hot water and this bottle, right? And then he acted like it was an accident and was laughing at me, and then saying, "You could grab a small candy," and then laughing like, ha 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 ha. Because that would be a comparison about a girl or some drugs, basically. Whenever you buy drugs from ring activity like these people in the casinos on Interurban, they're joking like you just bought some sex, basically, as far as they're concerned. Anything from ring activity is you're having sex with them and stuff like that. They're fucking weird. They look respectable. They're ringed up with Buddhist temples and shit that are on the hills over here and stuff. And there's some temples up in the Tukwila, and then they go out more north towards, when you go towards Martin Luther King Avenue and stuff, there's some temples hidden up in the hills, and they're all associated with these fucking casinos in Interurban Avenue. And all these Asian people with Chinatown and everything, they like casinos, that's their thing, and they think they're funny. And I know they don't like white boys like me. They don't like white boys like me. A lot of the older Asian guys, they don't like white kids. They don't.